On this edition of Second Alarm, we have stories of survival and life-saving. We honor citizens and Spokane Fire Department employees at our Meritorious Award ceremony for acts of valor and life-saving. We'll also meet victims of sudden cardiac arrest and hear their stories of survival. We will also spotlight the Spokane Fire Department Logistics Division and the important job they do keeping our apparatus on the road and ready to respond. We'll have those stories and much more coming up on this edition of Second Alarm. Hello and welcome to this edition of Second Alarm. I'm Assistant Chief Brian Schaefer. This May, the Fire Department held our annual Meritorious Service Ceremony. It's a chance to honor the citizens and the Fire Department personnel who have made a difference in our community. Here are some of the highlights from the ceremony.
It's a pleasure to have you with us tonight. My name is Bobby Williams and I'm the Fire Chief for the City of Spokane. And I think this is about the fourth year or so that we have been doing this ceremony, and it has been a real treat for us to do that. For years and years, we probably didn't do the best job of recognizing the personnel within the department or the citizens in the community who went the extra mile to help those in their time of need. And that's what this ceremony is all about, is recognitions.
The rest of the awards and recognitions that will be presented tonight are from incidents and events that occurred in the year 2011. The selection process involves members in the field, our members, Spokane Fire Department members, submitting nominations to the committee that is made up of Local 29 SAFO and administration members. And the first series of presentations that we'd like to make are Citizen Community Life-Saving Awards. And the criteria for that award is the Citizen Community Life-Saving Award may be granted to any member of the community who aids in saving the life of another within the city of Spokane. Tonight we have 13 citizens that are receiving this award. The first recipient is Sean Rapp. This incident was incredibly tragic and occurred on November 30th of last year near 20th and Perry. Sean was a part of a work crew that was clearing large limbs and trees from a hillside. During that process, a high-tension cable released, which struck a coworker in the neck, severing critical arteries and immediately releasing an incredible amount of blood. Sean immediately went to the patient's side, took measures to try and control the bleeding. Unfortunately, the patient went into cardiac arrest, so Sean performed CPR until the fire department was able to arrive on scene. Statistically, only 1%, 1 out of 100 people that suffer a traumatic cardiac arrest survive. This patient's chance for survival was significantly enhanced because of Sean's efforts. Thank you, Sean. The next recipients are Chris Newman and Sherry DeGuire. On the 25th of September, both Chris and Sherry were present during a hockey game at the Eagles Ice Arena. After a player had just come off of the ice for a break, he collapsed. Chris responded immediately to the patient and recognized that he was in serious trouble. Within seconds of Chris arriving, the patient was unconscious, stopped breathing, and was pulseless. He immediately began CPR and was assisted by Sherry, which had the foresight to bring the facility's AED, or automatic external defibrillator. By the arrival time of the fire department and after great CPR with defibrillations from that AED, the patient was awake, confused, and eventually taken directly to the hospital and admitted to the cath lab for a definitive treatment. Thank you, Chris and Sherry, for a truly remarkable job. Our next award is being presented to a group of 3 citizens that are going to have a story to tell for a very long time. They are Ron Brown, Jerry Weaver, and Boyd Plager. On September 23rd of last year at Downriver Golf Course, during a fairly routine game of golf with several friends, if there is such a thing as a routine game of golf, During the game, one member of the team became ill and collapsed. Ron, Jerry, and Boyd all recognized that their friend was in cardiac arrest. Based on their location and the great distance between them and help, all three men stepped up and after calling 911, performed CPR for several minutes before Engine 16 arrived with an AED. Shortly thereafter, fire department paramedics and others arrived on scene, and together they successfully resuscitated the golfer. Ron, Jerry, and Boyd, there's no question that you probably turned the worst day of this golfer's life on a golf course to one that will always be remembered. Thank you very much. Next, we'd like to recognize Chris Ferguson. He must be here. In the early morning of June 18th, Chris was driving his routine STA route downtown like many times before. As he came to the area of 4th and Maple, he noticed smoke coming from a residence and realized quickly that it was on fire. He safely parked the bus and immediately ran to alert residents inside of the home to the fire. According to the officer on Engine 4 that nominated Chris, he stated that without Chris's efforts that morning, the fire would certainly have resulted in at least one fire fatality. Chris, thank you for your great awareness and for stopping to help. Our next series of awards are special unit citations that go to Spokane Fire Department members. The criteria for a special unit citation is awarded to any unit within the department which has worked together toward a common goal. The citation is awarded for a specific performance of exceptional quality. The first citation tonight is being awarded to SFD members Isaac Anderson, Brett Roberts, Eric Staggs, and Shane Grunig. On March 25th, at a structure fire, the fire was in an occupied two-story house with a citizen trapped on the second floor. Firefighters Anderson and Roberts made entry into the structure, fought their way to the second floor, and successfully rescued an adult male that was in distress and trapped. Paramedic Staggs and firefighter Grunig administered ALS medicine and care to this individual, including the administration of a high-dose cyano kit, which successfully saved this person's life. The company's determination, coordination, and teamwork epitomize the SFD's commitment to excellence, and we are extremely proud of their performance.
The Spokane Fire Department and other EMS agencies in Spokane have been working very hard to increase the survival rate of sudden cardiac arrest victims in Spokane County. Nationally, the survival rate is only 6 to 7%. In Spokane, it's closer to 44%. EMS providers got a chance recently to see the successes in person and meet the people they saved.
And you will hear other stories like that tonight.
This is the first survivor celebration where we invited survivors of sudden cardiac arrest and their rescuers and medical teams to converge in a night of celebration, and not only with with some education, but really about the survivors.
My name is John Bertnoli, and it happened on March 30th of last year. I was playing soccer at an indoor soccer center with a bunch of my friends, and I came off the field to take a little break as my team was done with their part of the game, and started talking to some friends, and more or less mid-sentence I just stopped and lost consciousness.
From experience, I mean, we know that very few of cardiac arrest patients survive, but in this particular case, like we've learned, CPR was performed early by his friends on scene. So when we arrived there, we were lucky enough basically just to be able to defibrillate him immediately, and luckily that worked well.
I do remember them telling me while I was in the ambulance that, your heart stopped and we've got it going again, but we need to get you to the hospital. And that's pretty much what they kept telling me. And I kept disagreeing with them, but they stayed pretty firm to that story.
Surviving sudden cardiac arrest, every survivor has a lucky rabbit's foot in their pocket. You know, after the fact, they're always saying about what if, and it goes back to the initial insult where they collapse and they heart ceases to function, and it's that immediate response, whether that's on-call physician that's at a clinic, or whether that's a store clerk that's standing there. But really, those people that are the first responders, the bystanders, if you will, they're the heroes in the thing, because they bridge the gap between the time 911 called and the first rescues get there. We need a hero at the side of that patient. And it's obvious when there isn't someone there, the outcomes aren't as good as what these survivors experienced tonight.
You know, I know they did an awesome job. I know that certainly the guys that were doing CPR on me did a great job, and the paramedics, when they got there, they took it over and made sure that everything was done right. So, a good thing.
The Spokane Fire Department's Logistic Division works hard to make sure our apparatus are always ready to respond to the citizens of Spokane. Division Chief Art Nichols has more on the important work they do.
The maintenance division of the Spokane Fire Department consists of myself and 5 mechanics. We maintain 20 facilities and over 100 apparatus between frontline apparatus, reserve apparatus, staff vehicles, secondary trucks that we have, trailers, boats. There's over 100. We also maintain thousands of pieces of equipment, over 100 ground ladders and hundreds of nozzles and pike poles and Pulaskis and Halligans, and the list just goes on and on and on. We have a ton of equipment that we maintain, we purchase or we repair. We do probably 99% of our own work on the trucks. We don't send too many things out. They're extremely busy. Our mechanics, we have 5 mechanics here working as hard as they can, trying to keep the fleet operational and trying to keep the vehicles safe. They all have their ASE certifications, and most of them have their EVT certifications, or Emergency Vehicle Technician certification. One of the biggest challenges that we face with our fleet is its aging fleet. We have a high mileage fleet that we've never had before in the history of the department. The truck behind me, PL13, has 191,000 miles. PL11 has 150,000 miles. Our newest trucks are already into the 30s and 40,000 miles, with the exception of engine 1. I believe it has 23,000 miles. We recently bought a used engine from West Virginia, first of the year, and it had 59,000 miles on it, so it's fairly low mileage. It's an older truck, but low miles. The one I'm purchasing right now from Garrison, New York, has 27,000 miles on it, but it's a 22-year-old truck. But that will be the second lowest mileage truck we'll have in the fleet once we bring it in, though.
That's coming.
Wildland fire season is upon us, and Spokane Fire Department crews have been preparing. We caught up recently as crews refreshed their skills in North Spokane. Fire Department Lieutenant Todd Graves has more on this training and how it benefits the city.
Doing wildland refresher training, we're required to do 6 hours of this every year. So we brought folks out here from the various stations, 2 sessions a day, to come out and get hands-on and just get familiar with some of the fuels that are in the city or surround the city. We're working on some city ground here, and while we're doing the training here and getting the hands-on and constructing fire line and those things, we're helping reduce or mitigate some of the fire spread hazard that is in here, because we're actually taking down some of the dead and woody materials that are not healthy in here anyway. Some of it's diseased, and we're making priority areas as we're doing our practice fire lines in here to take some of that out. And then SNAP is going to come in here and take some of the material that's not rotten and use that to help the community, giving them some free firewood. Folks around here that live up the hill from us where there's potential for fire spread to have stopped and thanked us. Many of them are curious what we're doing, and I think they're happy to see that their city firefighters are out here making sure we're ready to protect them when it's time.
This spring, emergency responders from across Spokane County gathered at the Fire Department's training center to simulate the unthinkable. A building collapsed at a hospital. It was an opportunity to test the county's emergency response plans and see how different agencies could work together. Battalion Chief Dave Hayworth has more.
The scenario will be a rough drop at a hospital.
Well, we had a joint exercise between several agencies in the county administered by Department of Emergency Management, and we simulated a structural collapse at Holy Family Hospital with several victims trapped and injured.
Stand? Yeah. Are you healthy? Can you stand? Stay right here and help me? Are you able to stand? You okay? Yeah. Stay right here and help him. I'll be with that. Okay.
Yeah, lots of victims, so we had a mass casualty component and an urban search and rescue component as well.
So you got 2 there. Let's do engine 4 to quadrant B. We'll do ladder 4, team A to C, and ladder 4, team B to D.
There's lots of injuries. It kind of overwhelms the system initially because there is so many people needing care at once.
Acute abdominal pain, BP is 60 or 35.
conscious?
No.
And the organizational structure has to grow fairly rapidly to deal with that many patients, to get them triaged and transported to the hospital. Our portion of the exercise that we ran here simulated the actual collapse structure itself. We had some surface victims. We had some victims that were trapped down in the pile. We had some that were lightly trapped. And then concurrently, the hospital group ran their exercise portion of it inside the training center, and the county overhead team ran their portion of it inside the training center and in the
Base
command
operations
vehicle.
is going to be right here. Okay. We're still going to be working off orange, our tactical frequency.
Just to get everybody together and practice working together on these big incidents where it's going to take all hands to successfully complete it. Just learned that anytime you have a sudden influx of injured people, it's getting the system to grow fast enough to meet the demand and meet the needs is difficult, and getting organization in place to take care of it really has to be done fairly quickly because those people can't wait. I mean, they're injured and they need help now.
That's all for this edition of Second Alarm. You can catch back episodes on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line at fire@spokanefire.org or give us a call at 509-625-7000. Thanks again for watching and stay safe.